Greetings everyone, my name is Putu. You can call me Miss Putu. Today I want to explain the chemistry topic. It is about ionic bonding and covalent bonding. Please enjoy. Okay, so what I will explain in this presentation, first I want to explain about what is electron shells, and then what are element, compounds, and mixture. I will also explain about what is ionic bonding and what is covalent bonding. So let's go to about electron shell. So first we talk about atom. The structure of the atom can be represented using diagram. There are two ways how to represent the atom using diagram, which is the first one is about using the electron shell diagram, and then number second is using the electronic configuration, which is writing out electron in a special rotation. So you can see these two pictures in here. So the first picture in here, it is how we represent the atom in the form of the electron shells diagram. And then the second picture, which is in here, you can see it is how we can represent the electron in the atom by using electronic configuration, which is writing out special notation. So before we continue, let's learn what is actually the definition of the electron shell. So we can see in here, this is the picture of the electron shell diagram. So this is the atom, yeah. So this one, it is the nucleus, yeah. Okay, sorry, this is the nucleus, and you can see this is the electron shell. So we can see in this atom, they have 3 shells. So what is electron shell? It is the pathway that is used by the electron to orbit the nucleus of an atom. And then every cell, it is contain energy. The farther the shell from the nucleus of the atom, the higher the energy. So as we, the other name for the electron shell, it is energy levels. Okay, and then as we can see in here, actually each electron shell can accommodate a fixed number of the electron. So the first cell, it is can only accommodate 2 electrons. And then the second shell, it's only can accommodate up to 8 electrons. And then the third cell, it is up to 8 electrons. So if the atom has several electrons, and then it is already fill the first cell about 2 electrons, and then they still have the electron that need to go to the electron shell, they cannot going to the first shell, but the after the 2 electron, the next electron need to go to the second shell. If the second cell is already finished, yeah, and then they need the rest of the electron need to fill the next the third cell. So let's review. Shell, the other name of the shell, it is energy level, and then electron orbit the nucleus of an atom in the electron shell or energy level. And then each shell has a different amount of the energy associated with it. The farther away the shell from the nucleus, the more energy the cell has. Sorry. So as we can see in here, the first cell, it is can only accommodate 2 electrons, and then the second cell can only hold 8 electrons, and then the third cell, they can only hold 8 electrons. So when the first cell, they already full of the 2 electrons, and then the atom, they have more than 2 electrons, the rest of this electron need to go to the second shell. And then if the second shell already full of the electron, they need to go to the third cells, yeah. So we know the term that we call as the valence shell. So what is the valence shell? Valence shell is the outermost cell of an atom. So basically, why it is important? Because every atom, they want to be stable. So the atom, will become more stable if it is can manage to complete to fill the shell with the electron. So for example, yeah, the first cell it is 2 electron, yeah, contain a maximum 2 electron. So this is become very stable. But if the first cell they only have 1 electron, it is become less stable compared to the first cell that contain 2 electron. So if the electron it is full in the cell according to the accommodation of the every cell, yeah, which is the first it is 2, the second it is 8 electron, and then the third it is 8 electron, the atom become more stable. So this is the purpose that atom need. This is the purpose of the electron shell, and then how atom can become more stable by fulfill the electron in the electron shells. So other than using the electron shell diagram, we can also depict the arrangement of the electron by using the number. Okay, so this is we can see in here. This is the second diagram, yeah, how we can depict the electron. Now, there is the clear relationship between the outer shell electron and how the periodic table is designed. So what is the relationship? Okay. Okay, so we can see in here how we can represent the electronic shell diagram into the electronic configuration. So there is the clear relationship between the outer shell electron and how the periodic table is designed. So what is the relationship? So we can see this is the atom fluorine. Yeah, as you can see, they have 2 electron in the first shell, and then they have the 8 electron in the second shell, and then they have the 7 electron in the third shell. So if we translate this one into the electronic configuration diagram, we can have this kind of the notation. So as we can see, they have 3 notation, which is this one, first, second, and then third, yeah. So what is it is represent? So this is represent that chlorine, it is in the period 3 of the periodic table. And then as we can see that the valence shell, it is contains 7 electrons. So this is represent the group of the element in the periodic table. So this is represent the group 7 in the periodic table. So by using the electronic configuration diagram, we know that chlorine, it is located in the periodic tree of the periodic table, and then they are the group 7 in the periodic table. So let's we check the periodic table to check the chlorine element, yeah. So as we can see in here, this is the chlorine, yeah, it is in the periodic tree 1, 2, 3 in here, periodic tree, and this is the group 7, yeah, of the periodic table. So this is how we can see how we can making the electronic configuration diagram to show the position of the element in the periodic table. Okay. Yeah, this is we can see again. So this is chlorine. The electron valence, yeah, in the last shell it is 7, so they are group 7, yeah. And then they have 3 notations, so they are the period 3 in the periodic table. So let's review. So period, yeah, the red numbers at the bottom show the number of notation, which is 3, showing that a chlorine atom has 3 shells of electron. And then group, the green box highlight the last notation, which is 7. Yeah, this is showing that a chlorine atom has a 7 outer electron. Yeah, so the group of the periodic table showing the number of the outer electron in the valence shell, and then the number of notation, it is showing the period in the periodic table. Yeah. Okay. So as we can see in here, a number of notation in the electronic configuration diagram, it is equal with the how many shell of the electron the atom has, the number of the shell of the electron the atom has. And also it is showing the period in which the element it is in the periodic table. And then the last notation also show the number of the outer electron the atom has, which is showing the group in the periodic table that element is in. Now, element in the same group has the same number of outer shell electron. So we can see in here like fluorine, chlorine, yeah, bromine, they are in the group 7. So all of them contain 7 electron in the last in the valence shell or in the last shell in their electronic in the diagram, yeah, in the electron shell diagram. So, and then next I want to explain about the noble gases, yeah. Why I explain that one? Because noble gases is the most unreactive element in the periodic table. Then I will explain what is the relationship of the noble gases with the previous previous explanation about electron valence, yeah. So as we can see in here, noble gases, it is filling the group 0 or group 8 in the periodic table, which is helium, neon, argon, yeah, krypton. Yeah, this is the noble gases. And then noble gases is very unreactive because they are very stable. Why they are very stable? Because the electron in the valence shell, which is the last shell that they have, it is already filled with the electron. So the valence shell, it is already full. Because it is full, they are unreactive. So they are not easy to be react with other material or other element. So as we can see here, the atoms of the group 8 or group 0 element all have 8 electrons in their outer shell, except helium, which is the top, yeah, in the top period, it is only have 2 electrons, yeah. But you remember that in the first cell that we studied in here, okay, sorry, we come back in here that the first cell, the maximum number of the electron in the first cell is only 2 electrons, and then the helium atom, they contain 2 electrons, so they are already filled the first shell, and it is already full, so they are included to noble gases because they are because it is full, and then they are very stable. And then all of the noble gases are unreactive because they have outer shell that are full of the electron and very stable. So all elements that having that outer shell is not full with the electron, they tend to wish to fill their outer shell with electron. So they will be looks like the noble element. Why? Because when they have the configuration of the electron similar with the noble element or noble gases, they will be much more stable, and it is desirable configuration that is needed by the element. Yeah. And then before we go into the ionic bonding and covalent bonding, let's we explain about what is the difference of the element, mixture, and then compound and then mixture, which is in the part 3, which is type of substances and then properties. So as we can see in here, this is atom, yeah, and then this is molecule, and then this is compound, okay, and then this is a mixture. So from this figure, I hope you can understand, but I will explain, yeah. So atom, it is contain one element, okay. So they cannot splitting again into anything simpler. Okay, so they contain of the one atom is the what makes the element, and then they cannot split into anything simpler. And then molecule, it is the bonding of the 2 atoms, which is the same type of atoms. And then compounds, it is how atoms, several atoms, which is different type of atom, they are binding together by using chemical bonding. And then they cannot be separated by using physical separation. Yeah, so they cannot, several different atoms that join together by chemical bonding. It is a compound, and then they cannot be separated by using physical separation. Okay, and then mixture, it is the group of the several atom that can be, yeah, it is the difference with the compound that can be separated by physical separation. Okay, so let's review what is element. So element is a substance that made of atom that it is one type of atom or all contain the same number of proton and cannot be split into anything simpler. So what is compound? It is a pure substance that made up of two or more elements that chemically combine that cannot be separated into their element by physical means. So what is the meaning of the physical separation? This, for example, like evaporation or filtration. Yeah, it is cannot be separated by this kind of the method. So example, it is like water, yeah, or carbon dioxide, yeah. You cannot separate water contain H2O, hydrogen and oxygen, and then you cannot separate it hydrogen and oxygen using evaporation, for example. So it is a compound. And then they contain two different elements that bind by using the chemical bonding. And then mixture, it is the combination of the two or more substances, which is element and or compound that are not chemically combined and can be separated by physical method. So example, like the mixture of the salt in the water. So salt and water are mixture of two different compounds. So you can separate salt from the water by using evaporation. Or for example, the mixture of the stone and water, you can easily separate stone from the water by using filtration. So they can be separated by physical methods. And then let's we study about metals and non-metals. So why I explain about this one? Because ionic bonding and covalent bonding, it is they are different because of the element, which is their metal or non-metals, yeah. So in the periodic table, actually they already organized, yeah. So we can know which one it is the metal and which one it is the non-metal. So we can see the left side of the periodic table, it is mostly metal, yeah. So this is, as you can see, this is the blue one, it is all metals, okay. And then the right side, this is all metal, okay. Sorry. And then the right side of the periodic table, it is non-metal, yeah, which is usually gases, as you can see in here. And then this is non-metal. And then maybe you are asking me, what is the one in the purple in here? Okay, so this is called metalloids, yeah. So what is metalloid? Yeah, as you can see, it is the middle of the metal and non-metal. So they have property that some property that likes metal and some properties are like non-metal. So they are belong to the metalloid. So now so let's we review what is actually the main difference of the characteristic between metal and non-metal, yeah, and why they need to be differentiated into different groups. Okay. So as we can see that the majority of the element in the periodic table are metal, yeah. So this is the left side, it is mostly metal. So mostly element are metal. Small property, which is in the middle, it is metalloid or semi-metal because they have some property of the metal and some non-metal. And then the rest, it is non-metals. So let's we review, let's we compare the difference between the metal and non-metal. So metal, they can conduct heat and electricity very well. So when you want to make like cable, this is why we use metal, because they can conduct electricity very well. But non-metal, cannot conduct heat and electricity well. It is the opposite. Okay. Okay. And then metal is malleable and ductile, which is you can try to hammer the metal and then they can be shaped very easily, which is when you try to pull the metal and then you can shape them into different shape. It is what metal, the character of the metal, yeah. So you can shaping them by hammer them, yeah. But the non-metal are brittle and delicate when solid, and when you try to hammer them, they're easily to break up. And then metal usually shiny, but non-metal usually they are dull and non-reflective. Metal usually have high density and also they have high melting points, yeah. But non-metal, it is usually low density and they have low melting points. So they are easy to melt. And then, as you can see, many are gases at room temperature. Okay. And then metal, it is easier to lose electron. So when metal and non-metal they are want to make chemical bonding, metal will be tend to losing electron. So they will, because they are losing electron, they will become positive ion. But non-metal, will be easier to obtain the electron. So they will be gaining electrons, so they form negative ions. Okay, except hydrogen. Metal, they form basic oxide, and non-metal form acidic oxide. Okay, so we go to the ions and ionic bonding. So what is ion? Yeah, ion basically the atom that losing or gaining electron. Okay, so when they have doesn't lose or gain electron, they are having the zero charge, yeah. But when they are losing one electron, they become -1 ions, yeah. And when they are when they are losing electron, they will be positive ions, +1 ion. But when they are gaining electron, they will be obtaining more electrons, so they will become negative ions. Okay. So ionic bonding, it is the bonding that is formed between ions. Yeah. So because as you remember about physics, yeah, about magnetism maybe and about electrostatic forces, if something they have similar charge like positive and positive, they will be repel each other. And when they are negative and negative, they also will repel each other. But if two substances they contain different charge like positive and negative, they will be attract each other. So this is the definition of the ionic bonding, which is the bond that is formed between between ion that have different charge, which is positive and negative. Okay. And then as you can see before that metal, it is usually easier to be losing electron, and non-metal, it is easier to gaining electron. So ionic bonding, it is the bonding that usually happen between metal and non-metal. And then metal and non-metal, they become ion, and then they are become bonding because of the electrostatic forces of the different charge of the ions. Okay, so we continue with the formation of the ion. So what is the ion? Yeah, it is as I tell you before that ion, it is the atom that losing or gaining electron. So what is the purpose of losing and gaining electron? So the purpose of the losing and gaining electron, it is they want to make the electron in the electron shells, it is become more stable. So how they become more stable? It is when they have the configuration of the electron similar with the noble gases, which is their valence shell become full with the electron. Okay, so we can see first the formation of the sodium atom, yeah, sodium atom. Okay, let's we see the periodic table first. So sodium atom, it is Na, yeah. So they are in the group 1. So sodium, it is atom that contain one electron in the last shell, in the outermost cell or valence shell. Okay, so let's we see this one. Okay, so sodium has one electron in its valence or outermost cell. So as you can see in this diagram, they have three shells. Yeah. So the first shell already full with the 2 electron. The second shell it is full with the 8 electron, but the third shell they only have 1 electron. So they are in order to become more stable, they need the third cell. They need to have 7 electron, so they have the full configuration of the electron, or 8 electron, right? So if they have 8 electron, they will become more stable, and then they will become same configuration like noble gases. Okay, but definitely it is hard, right, to gaining 7 electron in 7 electron, and then they have only 1 electron. So the easiest way how the sodium they become stable, it is by losing or by releasing the 1 electron. So they become positive plus positive 1 sodium ion. Yeah, so when they releasing, or they will be releasing 1 electron, they have only 2 shell, and then the 2 shell it is already full, so they become stable like the noble gas. I mean the configuration is similar with the noble gases. Yeah, they have the full valence electron in the last electron shell. So sodium atom lose their outermost, the 1 electron, which is the outermost electron, leaving 2 shell that is full of the electron. So this is this configuration making this sodium become more stable, and this is what we call the of the sodium ion. And then let's we compare with the how we can form it, how we can form the negatively charged chloride ions. Yeah, so this is the chlorine atom. As you can see here, they have 3 shells, and then the first shell it is already full with the 2 electron. The second shell it is full with the 8 electron. Yeah, and then the last shell they have 7 electron. So basically, they are can be more stable if they gaining 1 electron to become 8, so they will be full. Okay, so chlorine has space for 1 more electron in its outermost shell to become more stable. So different with the sodium, yeah, it is easier for them to gain 1 electron than to lose 7 to achieve a full outer shell of the electron. So basically, they need to gain 1 electron, and it is easier for them because they just need to get 1 electron, so they become more stable, and then they will be similar with the configuration of the noble gases. Okay, so when they gain 1 electron, they become negative 1, or we call it the negatively charged chloride ion, and it just become more stable configuration for them. Nah, so how we can if we can combine these 2 ions into the bonding, we can make the ionic bonding. Yeah, because as you can see in here, sodium they has 1 electron in the third shell that makes them unstable, and then if they can releasing 1 electron, they can become more stable because they have 2 electron shell that already full, and then they become positive charge, and then the plus the electron from the sodium can go to the chlorine atom to become chloride ion. So the chloride ion will also become more stable because the 7 electron valence in the last electron shell, it is gaining 1 electron, so they become 8 electron. So they already full, making the third electron become full. so they become negative charge. Because they have different charge, positive and negative, based on the electrostatic force, they are attracted with each other. So this is we can make the natrium and chloride, sodium ion and then chloride ion. They making the bonding, ionic bonding, and we call it the compound called NaCl, yeah, natrium chloride. Okay. So as we can see, sodium is a metal and chloride it is non-metal. So ionic bonding it is happen between metal and non-metal because metal is easier to losing electron and non-metal is easier to gaining electron. Yeah. So let's review metals. All metals lose electron to other atom to become positively charged ion. Non-metal, all non-metals gain electron from other atom to become negatively charged ions. So because they already gaining or losing the electron, now they have the positive or negative charge, and positive and negative charge are held together by the strong electrostatic forces of attraction between opposite charge. And this is what holds ionic compounds together. Okay. So this is the ionic bonding in the sodium chloride. Okay, so now let's review. Let's see another example from magnesium and then oxygen. Yeah, okay. Let's see the element magnesium. It is in the which position of the periodic table. So magnesium, it is in the group 2 in the periodic table. Yeah, so they have because it is in the group 2, as you can see in here, magnesium. So they have 2 electrons in the valence shell of the magnesium, and they are in the period 2. Yeah, so they have 2 electron shells. Okay. And then oxygen, yeah, as we can see in here, where is the position of the oxygen? Okay, oxygen it is in the group 6, yeah, in the group 6. So they have 6 electron valence, yeah, in the last shell of the atom. They have 6 electron in the last shells, yeah. So in order to be stable, okay, magnesium they have two shells. So and then the second cell they only have 2 electrons, so they become not stable. So by losing 2 electrons, the first shell become full. So they can losing 2 electrons to become more stable, like noble gases configuration. And then oxygen, they have 6 electron valence. So in order to be more like the noble gases, they can gaining 2 electron to become 8 electron. Yeah, so they have their outermost shell become full. Okay. Okay. So we can see in here that the magnesium, they can losing 2 electron. So the first cell become full and they become more stable. And then they become magnesium ion that have positive 2 charge, yeah, because they are already losing 2 electron. And oxygen ion, they can get donation 2 electron to making the shell become full. So they become stable configuration because they're gaining 2 electron, they become oxygen ion that has -2 charge, yeah. So because they have a different charge, positive and negative, this is they can make ionic bonding and then they become magnesium oxide. Okay. So magnesium when this they can donating 2 electron to the oxygen, they become positive charge, they become more stable. Oxygen they get 2 electron, they also become full the valence, the electron shell, so they also become stable, and then they have different charge, so they can making a bonding through ionic bonding. So magnesium, it is also, as you can see here, it is metal, so they are easy to be losing electron, and oxygen it is non-metal, so they are easy to be gaining electrons, so they're making the ionic bonding through the electrostatic forces. Okay, so let's review about magnesium and oxygen in the magnesium oxide. So magnesium is a group 2 metal, so the magnesium can lose 2 outer electron to another atom to have a full outer shell of electron. So the positive ion with the charge of the +2 is formed. Oxygen is a group 6 non-metal, so oxygen need to gain 2 electrons to have a full outer shell of electron. 2 electrons will be transferred from the outer shell of the magnesium atom to the outer shell of the oxygen atom. Oxygen atom will gain 2 electrons to form a negative ion with charge -2. So it can make the ionic compound, which is magnesium oxide, MgO. Okay, so now let's continue to the covalent bond. Yeah. So what is the difference between ionic bond and covalent bond? So ionic bond, it is made by by elements that are metal and non-metal, and metal will be donating electron and non-metal will be gaining electron. But covalent bond, it is between non-metal. Yeah. So between non-metal and metal, they can make covalent bond. And it is not donating or accepting electron, but it is about sharing the electron. So they share the electron in the outer shell, so they can have the electron configuration as more similar to the noble gases. So they become more stable. So covalent compounds are made by covalent bonding. It is formed when electrons are shared between atoms. So only non-metal elements participate in the covalent bonding. As in ionic bonding, each atom gains a full outer shell of electron. When 2 or more atoms are chemically bonded together, we describe them as molecules. Okay, so we can see this one. It is about hydrogen. Yeah. So hydrogen, has one shell, and then they have this is hydrogen in the periodic table. They have one shell, and then they have one electron only. So as you remember from our first slide, that our first topic in this presentation, which is in the first cell, the full electron configuration is 2. Yeah. So by sharing but when hydrogen and hydrogen, they can making covalent bonding, they can sharing one electron each other. So they each of them, they have 2 electron in the first electron shell, so they become more stable. So this is how they can share electron, they become more stable, and it is how they make the covalent bonding. Okay, and then we can see chlorine. Yeah. So chlorine, they can also make covalent bonding with another chlorine. So we can see in here, chlorine is the group 7 and they are non-metal. So they make covalent bonding. Okay. So as you can see, they are in the group 7. So they have 7 electron shell. So they need to have one more. So they have the electron shell to become more stable like noble gases. So by sharing the one electron each other, each of the atom, they become more, have the electron configuration similar to the noble gases, so they become more stable. So by sharing one electron from each atom, they become having covalent bonding. And then we can see this is methane, yeah, which is carbon and 4 hydrogen. Okay, this one. As we can see, carbon, it is in the group 4, so they have 4 electrons in the outermost shell. And then hydrogen, it is have 1 electron, yeah. Okay, this is 1, as you can see. Yeah, so carbon, they have 4. In order for them to become like noble gases, they need to gaining 4 electrons. Okay, and hydrogen, they need to gain 1 electron to have 2 electrons, so they can become a full electron configuration. So what they do, yeah, so hydrogen will be sharing 1 electron to carbon, so they fulfill the 2 electrons to make the stable electron configuration. And carbon, they making the covalent bond with the 4 hydrogen, so they can share 1 electron from each hydrogen. Yeah, so they get sharing of the 4 electron. So total they get 8 electron. so they can be stable, yeah, in the electron configuration similar to the noble gases. And then we can see ammonia or NH3. As we can see in here, nitrogen, it is in the group 5 of the periodic table. So in order, this is nitrogen, yeah, in order for the nitrogen to become stable like noble gases, they need to have 3 more electrons, so they become 8, yeah. So what they do, so they sharing their electron with the hydrogen, because hydrogen need 1 electron to become full, 2 electron. When they are sharing electron, hydrogen will get 1 from nitrogen, so they become 2 electron and become more stable for hydrogen. And nitrogen, they share 3 electron with the hydrogen, so they are making 3 covalent bond with hydrogen, and then they get 3 sharing electron, so their electron become 8, yeah, and it has become stable like the noble gases electron configuration. Okay, I think it is my presentation about ionic bonding and covalent bonding. If we can say the conclusion or key points of the presentation today, ionic bonding, it is the bonding that is made by the metal and the non-metal, which is metal, they have the tendency to lose electron and then become positive ion, and non-metal, they have the tendency to gaining electrons, so they become negative ion. And then because of the different charge between between the atoms, there is the electrostatic force that making the oppositely charged ion become together in the ionic compounds. And then what is covalent bond, which is it is usually happen between non-metal and then non-metal, and then they need to share electron to fulfill the electron, the more stable electron in the last electron shell. So a chemical link between two atom or ion or two atom, which is the electron pair are shared between them. Okay, this is my reference. And if you have any question, you can ask me now, and then or you can give me the comment. Thank you for listening to my presentation. See you again next time to the different material. Bye.